All right, let's jump right in.
Sound good.
Today, we're diving into a blog you sent us. Tales from the Smugglers.
Oh, yeah, I remember that one.
This is, it's more than just a blog, though,
Mm-hmm.
like a time machine.
Okay.
Back to the Hastings music scene, 2005 to 2007.
Hastings, England.
Yeah, England.
Cool.
So,
Yeah, so what's great about this blog is that it's not just like some journalist, parachuting in.
right.
It's the author, Stu Huggett. Like, he's right there in the thick of it.
Yeah.
He's part of this world, these indie bands and these, like, grungy pubs.
Yeah, he was playing in bands,
Yeah.
booking shows, going to every show.
Exactly. It's that raw creative energy
Right,
that you can't fake that.
You can't fake it. And it's cool because it's like
Yeah.
pre-social media blowing up.
Right. Pre-streaming.
It's like a world that doesn't really exist much anymore, you know?
Yeah. It's a glimpse into a lost world, kind of.
Yeah. And he's documenting everything, like all of it.
And the bands he was into, I mean, these aren't just names on a list.
Right?
Like Regular John, that was one.
Yeah, they were great.
Like raw energy, like almost chaotic.
They were punky.
Yeah. When you read Stu's descriptions of them, it's like you're right there.
Absolutely.
In the mosh pit.
And then there was Rumiko Jr.
Oh, yeah. They were a bit more like indie pop, super catchy melodies.
Yeah.
I mean, those guys could get a crowd moving.
Yeah, they were really good.
Yeah. And then you've got Gorilla.
Totally different.
Total different vibe. Yeah. Heavier, more like bluesy rock,
Yeah.
So you've got this real eclectic mix.
Yeah. And what I love is that he doesn't just name drop these bands.
Yeah.
He actually gives you like a feel for what it was like to be at those gigs.
Totally. You're right there, like crammed into these legendary venues.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Smugglers.
Smugglers.
The Street.
The Street. Revolver.
Revolver. You can practically smell the stale beer.
Yeah, and hear the amps buzzing.
Just reading his words, it's incredible.
You're transported right back to that time. You are. You feel like you're standing there in the crowd.
Yeah, and you really get a sense of the community, too.
Yeah.
Like, these places weren't just venues.
Right.
They were like hubs
Yeah.
for this whole scene,
Yeah. Speaking of which, Stu himself is a character.
Oh, totally.
Oh, yeah.
He's hilarious.
He's got this, like, self-deprecating humor and a real knack for landing in these awkward situations.
Yeah, like that one time, I can't remember if it was a housewarming party or...
Oh, at Dean and Helen's place?
Dean and Helen's.
Yeah, Dean from Rumiko Jr.
Yeah, Rumiko Jr. And it was a fake blood fiasco.
Oh my gosh.
It was like something out of a horror movie.
He ended up drenched in fake blood.
Yeah, it's like, it's funny, but it also says something about that whole DIY spirit,
Oh, totally.
Like no rules, just pure creative chaos.
Yeah, yeah. And then, not every story is like rock and roll good times.
Right.
Like there's this one where he's at a bar and this guy recognizes him from Hastings.
Oh.
And the guy's like, a little too friendly.
Oh, I hate when that happens.
And Stu's just like squirming,
Yeah, you can practically feel his discomfort.
You can feel it radiating off the page. It's so good.
It's those little moments that make it real,
Yeah.
It wasn't always glamorous.
Right.
Sometimes it was just awkward and kind of cringy.
Yeah, and sometimes the music wasn't even good.
Oh, yeah, tell me about it.
Like, remember that band he saw? Liquor and Poker?
Oh, God, they were terrible.
They were so bad he walked out.
Yeah, in the middle of their set.
Mid-set.
Like, who does a comedy, Romeo and Juliet?
I know, right? And this is what's great about Stu.
Yeah.
He's not afraid to call out a band he thinks is bad.
No, he's got strong opinions.
He does. Like, remember that music festival he went to?
Oh, yeah, he was so disappointed.
He was so disappointed.
He called them, what was it?
Gravy train chasers.
Gravy train chasers, that's it.
He thought the whole scene was getting too homogenized.
Yeah. And he was right, in a way.
Yeah.
I mean, MySpace was huge back then.
It was everything.
Bands were getting signed off of MySpace.
I know, it's crazy.
And as MySpace started to fade, it's like the indie scene lost something.
Yeah, it's edge, for sure.
It became more about image, less about the music.
Totally.
But Stu, I mean, he was like predicting the whole influencer culture thing back in 2006.
I know, right? Like, he was ahead of his time.
Totally. And that's what makes this blog so fascinating.
Yeah.
It's not just about the music. It's about how the internet was starting to change everything.
Yeah.
But it's also a deeply personal story.
Yeah.
About Stu's life.
Yeah, his friendships.
His struggles.
Yeah, his struggles with alcohol.
Yeah.
Like, he's really open about it all.
It's raw and honest.
Yeah, he doesn't hold back.
He's not trying to paint a perfect picture.
Right.
It's messy. It's real life.
Yeah, and that's what makes it so compelling, I think.
I agree. So we've got this blog.
Yeah.
This time capsule of a scene.
this really interesting guy at the center of it.
Where do we even begin?
I think we gotta start with some of the most memorable moments, right?
Yeah, let's do it.
Like that one about the literary festival he went to.
Oh, right.
Totally out of his element.
Yeah, let's dive into that one.
Let's do it.
So this literary festival, right? Not exactly Stu's usual scene.
No, not at all. He even says he mostly went because his friends were involved.
Right, right.
But, you know, Stu being Stu, he's still observing everything, taking it all in.
Oh, absolutely. And he's got that sharp eye for detail.
He does.
He doesn't hold back on the commentary.
Especially about that pub, the Carlisle.
Oh, yeah, the one with the Johnny Cash Day event.
Yes. He said it had more hanging baskets than your average garden center.
And the clientele was...
A curious mix of goths and pensioners.
classic Stu.
It's so funny. You can totally picture it.
I know. And it's not just funny. It also shows you
Yeah.
how dedicated he was to supporting his friends, even if...
Even if it meant being surrounded by hanging baskets.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Even if it meant stepping outside his comfort zone a bit.
Yeah, like showing up for his friends' bands.
Oh, wait.
Even if it meant standing in raw sewage.
Oh, God, don't remind me.
The brass monkey gig.
A sea of unspeakable filth, as he so eloquently put it.
But the bands played on.
And the crowd went wild.
Kind of crazy when you think about it.
I know, talk about dedication. It just goes to show you what that scene was all about.
Yeah, the DIY spirit, making the most of what you've got.
Exactly. It wasn't about fancy venues or big budgets.
It was about the music, pure and simple.
Yeah, and the community.
The community.
Being there for each other.
Yeah, and speaking of the music,
What about it?
the way Stu describes those live performances,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
like you're right there in the crowd.
You can feel the energy.
You can feel
The
it.
sweat, the spilled beer, the crush of bodies.
It's so visceral.
Yeah, like that regular John gig.
Where they broke all those guitar strings.
6 guitars.
6. Granted, it was just the strings.
But still, you get the idea.
But they were wild.
Pure energy.
And it wasn't just about the music itself. It was the whole performance.
Right. The stage presence, the banter with the crowd.
Oh, yeah. And the rivalries between bands.
Oh, like regular John and the Heaters?
Yeah, that was a good word.
It's a lot of trash talk, apparently.
Friendly competition.
Well, mostly friendly.
Mostly.
Sometimes things got a little out of hand.
Yeah.
Remember Scott H. Byram?
Oh, man.
That meltdown.
Distorted blues played through 2 microphones taped together. That's how Stu described his music.
And the energy.
Intense doesn't even begin to cover it.
Let's just say things took a turn.
A very inappropriate turn.
Yeah, maybe we'll leave it at that.
Yeah, some things are better left unsaid.
But you know what? Even those kind of crazy moments,
Yeah.
they add to the whole tapestry of the scene, you know?
That unpredictability.
Exactly. You never knew what was going to happen next.
And that's what makes Stu's documentation so valuable, right?
Absolutely. He captures it all.
The good, the bad.
The ugly.
And he's not afraid to talk about the darker side of things.
No, he's very honest about his own struggles.
With alcohol.
Yeah, the blackouts, the regrets.
It's tough to read sometimes.
It is, but it's also important.
It's real.
It reminds us that even in these vibrant, creative scenes,
Yeah.
real life is still happening.
And real life can be messy.
Exactly.
And sometimes you need your friends to help you through it.
That's the beauty of community, isn't it?
It is. And you can see how much Stu's friends meant to him.
Oh, absolutely. They were there for him through thick and thin
Picking him up when he fell.
and pulling him into all sorts of adventures.
Adventures, that's a good word for it.
Like that Neil Young Day celebration.
At Smugglers,
Oh, yeah, he talked about that.
an annual event.
Local musicians paying tribute to the legend.
Everyone's singing along.
That's amazing.
It does, doesn't it?
I would have loved to be there.
Me too. It sounds like pure joy.
Collective joy.
Yeah, that's it. That feeling of being connected through music.
And that's what made that scene so special.
It really was.
But you know, Stu's blog isn't just about the fun times.
No, he gets pretty deep sometimes.
Yeah, he reflects on the music itself.
His own tastes.
How they were changing.
And the music industry as a whole.
Remember when he talked about feeling disillusioned with the indie scene?
Yeah, he thought it was losing its authenticity.
Becoming too focused on image and trends.
Especially with the rise of MySpace.
He was wary of it.
He was. He saw how it was changing things.
And not always for the better.
He even said he felt burnout.
Like he'd lost some of that initial spark.
That pure joy he used to get from music.
Yeah, it's a feeling I think a lot of music lovers can relate to.
That moment when you realize your tastes have changed.
Or the scene itself has shifted in a way that you no longer connect with.
It can be tough.
It could be like losing a part of yourself.
Yeah, part of your identity.
But you know what?
What?
It's also an opportunity
For what?
for growth. A chance to explore new genres, rediscover old favorites.
Find new ways to connect with music.
Exactly. And Stu's blog shows us that.
It does. It really does.
He embraces those changes, those challenges.
He doesn't shy away from them.
And in doing so, he shows us that it's okay to be critical.
Yeah.
To question things. To forge your own path as a music lover.
To not be afraid to say, hey, this isn't doing it for me anymore.
Exactly.
To be honest with yourself.
And to keep searching.
Searching for what?
For those sounds, those artists.
Yeah.
That speak to your soul.
That make you feel alive.
That remind you why you love music in the first place. So it wasn't just about going to the same pubs and seeing the same bands, right?
No, totally.
Stu was all over the place.
Yeah, he was.
Like checking out new venues, art shows. He even went to that literary festival.
Oh, right. The one where he just missed meeting Ian Sinclair?
Yeah, that's the one.
He was bummed about that.
I bet he was.
But even though it was totally out of his element,
yeah,
he still seemed to have a good time,
He always found a way to connect, even in unexpected places.
He did. Like, he was talking about the decor at the Carlisle.
Oh, yeah, the Johnny Cash Day event.
Yeah, he said it was like a garden center exploded in there.
And the people,
oh, Wyatt.
dogs and pensioners.
All united by their love of the Man in Black.
It's those little details that make his writing so vivid,
Yeah, you can just picture it.
Totally, and it shows you that he wasn't just about the music scene.
Right, he was open to new experiences.
Always curious.
Always.
But at the heart of it all, were those friendships.
The connections he made.
Exactly. You can feel the warmth of those friendships in his writing.
The late night conversations, the shared jokes.
The way they supported each other.
It's like you're right there with them.
Living those moments alongside him.
And it's clear that those friendships were a lifeline for him.
Especially during those tough times.
When he was struggling with alcohol.
Yeah, he's so open about those struggles.
It's raw. It's honest. And it shows you that even in the most vibrant scenes, there are shadows.
There are always shadows.
And it's the people around you.
The community.
That can help you through those dark times.
Exactly. And on the flip side, it was often those same friends who pulled him into the most memorable adventures.
Like that epic Neil Young Day celebration.
At Smugglers.
Every year, they'd get together.
Local musicians all playing Neil Young covers.
It sounds incredible.
It does, doesn't it? Just imagine that energy.
Everyone singing along to those classic songs.
They're our magic.
It really is. It's those moments of collective joy.
Being swept up in the music with people who share your passion.
That's what made that scene so special.
It really was something else.
But Stu's blog isn't all just fun and games.
Right, he also gets pretty introspective.
Yeah, he reflects on the music itself.
His own evolving tastes.
And the changing landscape of the industry.
Remember when he talked about feeling disillusioned with the indie scene?
Yeah, he thought it was losing its authenticity.
Becoming too focused on image and trends.
Especially with the rise of MySpace.
He was wary of that whole thing.
He was. He saw how it was changing things.
And not always for the better.
He even said he felt burnt out.
It's like he'd lost some of that initial spark.
Yeah, the pure joy he used to get from music.
It's a feeling I think a lot of music lovers can relate to.
That moment when you realize your tastes have changed.
Or the scene itself has shifted in a way that you no longer connect with.
It can be tough.
It can.
Let go of something you once loved.
But it's also a chance to rediscover.
What do you mean?
To explore new genres.
Oh, okay.
To find new bands that excite you.
To kind of reinvent your relationship with music.
Exactly.
And Stu's blog kind of takes us on that journey with him, right?
It does.
He doesn't shy away from those feelings of disillusionment.
He embraces them.
And he shows us that it's okay to change.
To evolve.
To let go of what's no longer serving you.
And to keep searching.
Searching for what?
For those sounds, those artists, those experiences that reignite that spark.
That remind you why you fell in love with music in the first place.
Exactly.
Like that time he went to see James Yorkston at the Crypt.
Oh, yeah, that was a special one.
A small, intimate gig.
Far from the mosh pits and the chaos of Smugglers.
But it clearly had a profound impact on him.
He even mentioned how one of Yorkston's songs,
St. Patrick.
Yeah, that one connected to a really personal experience for him.
It's those moments,
where music transcends entertainment.
Becomes something more.
A source of solace, reflection.
Even healing.
That's what makes Stu's story so powerful.
It's not just about the music scene.
It's about life.
About finding yourself in the music.
And letting the music guide you.
Through all the ups and downs.
Exactly.
Well, that about wraps up our deep dive into the world of Stu Huggett and the Hastings music scene.
It's been a real pleasure exploring these memories with you.
It has. It's been a trip.
A musical trip.
Exactly. And we hope you've enjoyed coming along for the ride.
We'll see you next time for another deep dive into a world that you, the listeners, bring to us.
Until then, keep exploring, keep listening, and keep those requests coming.